Thank you, Laura. I appreciate that introduction and the incredible job you're doing here. And thank you all for being here this morning. You know, today as we commemorate Arkansas's role in our American experience since the signing of the Declaration of Independence 250 years ago, and we're also here, of course, to celebrate on today, June 15th, the 190th birthday of our state of Arkansas, two incredible milestones, and this is the perfect place for it. As this building has played an impactful role in our state's history during much of that time. It's played a role in shaping our state, our nation, and even the world. Its storied past began in 1833, just prior to, but anticipation of statehood. John Pope was serving as a territorial governor. He had come here from the state of Arkansas, where he had previously served as a United States Senator. When it came time to select an architect to design this building, he selected Gideon Shyrock, who was also a famed Kentucky architect who had recently designed the Kentucky state capitol. So we took a Kentucky senator, made him our governor. We took their architect, had him design our capitol, and that's a trend that we continue to this day, as we recently stole their basketball coach for Arkansas. In 1837, while construction was completing here, the legislature had begun meeting. And as we all know, when our legislature, and we have some with us here today, when our legislature comes down, sometimes it can be a little bit of a raucous bunch. But our first state legislator had such an ominous start that all the antics that may have occurred since then have certainly paled in comparison. It was on the House floor in this building behind us, where for the only time in U.S. history, the Speaker of the House, 11, the General Assembly would move to the new Capitol where they are today, but the debate of what to do with this building had already been percolating for quite some time. In those days, this building was not seen as a historic structure. It was just another state asset or another state building. And there were efforts to sell this building as early as 1901. But a group of women stepped in and began their crusade to preserve and protect this important building. Among them, of course, was the Daughters of the American Revolution. We have Kathy Bachman here with us today, who is the chair, and many representatives of their organization. They've been instrumental through the years of preserving this building and seeing to its restoration and even saving it back in the day. Other clubs also joined in: the Daughters of the Daughters of the Confederacy, the Daughters of the War of 1812, and they all played significant roles. In fact, it was the president of the Daughters of 1812 that was quoted as saying, "It is up to the women of Arkansas to save the building for the future, as the men are too involved in the present to have a vision for what would benefit our children and grandchildren." Perhaps voters had a similar sentiment when we elected a female governor a few years ago, who we're proud to have with us here today. But when the legislature left here in 1911, there were many that would occupy this building and call it home. One was the State Board of Health, created in 1913. In those years, malaria was rampant, not only in Arkansas, but across the globe. The State Health Board embarked on an experiment called the Crosset experiment, and it was born right here. The methods they discovered were found to reduce the spread of malaria by 92%. That became the blueprint for malaria control across the world. So when I say that events that occurred here helped shape our nation and world, it's not an exaggeration. In recognition of this accomplishment, this building was designated a National Historic Landmark in 1997. In 1921, the legislature transformed this building into the War Memorial, State War Memorial, honoring our veterans. And the American Legion would become custodians of the building, and it would remain as our War Memorial for 27 years until War Memorial Stadium was dedicated in 1948. By the 30s, many organizations called this home. The Arkansas State Police, this was their first home in the state of Arkansas. Through the 40s, this building was beginning to be seen less as just another state building and more for its historical significance to the state, and major renovations began to be undertaken. In 1951, the old State House here was opened where it is now as a museum. It will continue to serve a role in our American history when, on these steps in 1991, Bill Clinton announced his run for president. He also accepted victory here for president in 1992 and 1996. Today, of course, it houses some incredible exhibits that tell the story of our Arkansas First Families, the election of past governors, the history of the building, and of course our official Arkansas 250 exhibit that's on display now. If you haven't seen it, I hope you take a chance to look at it while you're here today. But many contributed to the creation, the history, and the preservation of this building, and we are certainly indebted to their foresight and vision for what it was and what it could be. Today is the oldest standing state capitol building west of the Mississippi River. Events here helped shape the state, the nation, and impacted the world. At Arkansas Heritage and the Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism, we're the current custodians of this magnificent building, and it's a responsibility and an honor that we take very seriously. We're also very fortunate to have a governor who shares our passion for Arkansas, its heritage, and this historic treasure. Her commitment to telling Arkansas' story to the world and cherishing our rich state heritage is second to none. She, too, has already made history as Arkansas's first female governor. We're honored to have her with us here today. Please join me in welcoming Governor Sarah Sanders.